forearms. "Why don't you try? You're better with animals than anyone I know." "I only use my powers for good," said Eddie, flashing her a grin. "And sorry, but teaching your raven to find you spare change isn't on the list." Finn knew it was supposed to be a joke, but sometimes she wasn't all that sure her cousin didn't have some power over animals. He'd always been good with them, rescuing snails from sidewalks and catching lizards for their science fair project. He always knew what they were feeling, or where to put them so they could go home. It could have been Eddie's innate instinct. Or it could have been something more. Because in the town of Aldermere, that was a possibility. Maury finished gobbling up the egg. Then she spread her wings and took to the air, flying over Aunt Myrtle's house, referred to as the big house. The raven alighted on the roof, peering toward the middle of town. "Come on," Finn called after the bird. "We only tried the fetch trick once. I've got another egg." Maury ignored her. She tilted her head back and forth, fluffed up her feathers indignantly, and then flew toward town. "Where are you going?" said Finn. The raven didn't answer, of course. Eddie shut his textbook and slid off the car. He stared after Maury, a line between his brows. "What is it?" said Finn. Eddie's frown deepened. "She turned down food. That's weird." Leaving his homework on the car, Eddie walked around the big house. Finn gave the forgotten textbook and multiplication problems a worried glance. If the wind didn't blow them away, the other ravens might decide to steal them. The birds had a habit of getting into mischief. Hurriedly, Finn picked up the papers, shoved them into Eddie's math book, and crammed it under her arm. Eddie stood in the front yard. "She flew toward Main Street. What could be more interesting than food?" Aunt Myrtle's home was on the northwest side of town, where the redwood forest brushed up against the houses and yards. Aldermere was small enough that it only took a few minutes to get to Main Street. Eddie took a shortcut up a gravel alleyway and came out on a sidewalk cracked by tree roots. "Slow down," called Finn. She still had Eddie's homework under her arm, and sweat trickled down her side. Then she caught sight of the strange car. A van rolled up Main Street. It was white and orange, with a bright logo printed across the door. "Is that a—" Eddie began to say. "Moving van." Finn squinted at it. "I used to see them a lot when I lived down south. We couldn't afford one, and we didn't have enough stuff anyways. But you'd see them everywhere." "Moving van," repeated Eddie, mulling over the words. "New neighbors?" "Or they're trying to find the gas station and got lost," said Finn. Aldermere didn't get a lot of new residents. It was mostly retirees, a few families, and several vacation homes. Not a lot of people wanted to live in the isolation of the Northern California redwoods. "Let's see." Eddie turned and trotted after the van. It was going slow, as if the occupants weren't used to the rough pavement or the faded street signs. Eddie and Finn passed Mrs. Brackenbury's home. Mrs. Brackenbury herself was dozing on her porch swing, head drooping forward, and an audible snore rattling through her nose. Her old bulldog, Mr. Bull, napped between her feet. The van stopped in the middle of the street, then began to reverse. A man poked his head out of the driver's side window and slowly backed into the driveway of the house beside Mrs. Brackenbury's. "That's Ben's old place," said Finn. It had been empty for the last 6 months, after its last occupant was banished from town. "They must be the new renters," said Eddie. The passenger door opened with a loud creak. A woman stepped out and smiled at the house. She had brown and gray hair, worn straight down her back in a braid. She was pretty, in a loose blouse and high-waisted jeans. A man got out of the driver's side, squinting through the late afternoon sunlight. He looked a little older. His hair was all gray, with a severe widow's peak. He heaved open the van's sliding door.